I think I got it. No echo. Okay. All right. Okay. I see Miss Shirley. Okay, so let me add Miss Shirley. Add to the stage. All right. Hey, Miss Shirley. It only took me 3 days to get it right. Oh my
I,
goodness.
I, I was saying to myself, I was like, now see, as old folks say, I done got all gussied up to come on the show and then I can't get on there. I was like, wait a minute, I washed up for nothing.
Oh no. I guess I need to update my computer. That's what I'm going to do. Going to go ahead and update my computer after we get done, though. But it was
Yeah,
working
it
fine
kept
all
saying
day.
wrong credentials. And I was like, what kind of credentials do I need?
None. You're just supposed to be able to click the link and come on up. I have no idea. No idea what was going on, but I'm gonna update it my computer and see if that'll work. I'll test some things out tonight. But thank you for patiently waiting, Miss Shirley. I appreciate it. Thank y'all
Not a problem.
for patiently waiting, trying to help me out. We finally got this thing rolling, right? All right, y'all. So, welcome, Miss Shirley, again to my channel, and I appreciate you for accepting the invite. Y'all in the chat, go ahead and I'm pretty sure y'all already spoke to Miss Shirley, but go ahead and speak to her again because we've been out like a. But Miss Shirley, we are talking about medicinal herbs. We're gonna go ahead and get into it since time has been well spent. And
Okay.
what we've been talking about on the past couple of medicinal herbs is things that our ancestors used that we can remember or that we talked about with them when they were alive and how they used
Yeah.
them when they were here. And we want to go back and get those things that they used and use it today because it's still works and it'll
Yeah.
help. So we wanted to bring you up here today to pick your brain and get all the information that you have. So what are some things that you remember doing when you were younger or your parents did when you were younger in the garden as far as herbs?
Well, I want to put this disclaimer out first
Mhm.
that these are things I grew up with. I personally experienced, I personally have tried and know that they work for me and my family. All right. I can't say that what works for me works for everybody. Some
Right.
people might be allergic to certain herbs that I've used and they can't use them. So I'm just letting you guys know I come from the medical profession as well. That's where I retired from, was one of the second major hospitals in the US of A. So I've even talked over some things with the nurses that's around me. I'm a medical secretary. So I've done it long enough that I've been around and I know the codes and the dosage and the whole 9 yards. So I do have a little bit of a medical background.
You know it.
Um, right. So, like I said, the things that I've used, and this has been generation after generation. My grandmother started it out. She passed it down to my mom. My mom passed it down to me. I've used it on my children and I've used it on my grandchildren. So this is generation of using the same herb over and over and over again. Now I know and I have been corrected that there's more than one kind of certain herbs. That I do know.
Hmm.
But for the ones we use, they weren't poisonous. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to sit here and give you this information.
Right.
So even though these ones did not have medical books or doctors telling them about the certain properties of certain herbs, They knew what to use because, like I said, it's been passed down from generation. I don't know who taught my grandmother before then. It could have been her mom.
Right.
But as it says, like we use sassafras tea for colds and coughs. My grandmother used to use sardines if you had the mumps. She would smother them all around your jaws if they were swollen. They, as they say, tie a scarf and give you rabbit ears if you had mumps. If you had chicken pox, they used what did she use? It was a some kind of lard that she put on there to help draw the chicken pox to a head so that they could bust and dry out. And caramine lotion that we used, for chicken pox and poison ivy.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, we made tea out the sassafras. She made a tincture out of it. She also used a basil for sore throats and headaches. We had ginger for stomach aches. Old fashioned baking soda and some warm water you would take and you would gargle with it as well for sore throats and what have you. Also, Vicks ass or Vicks vapor. Well, we call it Vicks ass, but it's Vicks vapor rub. When you caught a cold, they would rub what they call the soft spot in the top of your head, under your underarms, your chest, the bottom of your feet. If you was a male, they would go around your testicles, and if it was female, they rubbed your chest down. And what that did was it would break up the cold starting from your head and work it straight through your body. My grandmother even made us swallow a little bit of the Vicks Vapor Rub, even though people said it was dangerous,
Right.
not to do that. But Vicks Vapor Rub was pretty much natural, organic. It had the menthol in it, and uh she didn't give you a lot, just a little bit, so she would use that. And then in extreme cases, they broke out the old castor oil, made you bite on a lemon or orange and suck that in and then make you take it, and you better not throw it back up, she'll make you take two. Back in our day, we we also had Father John, three sixes, cod liver oil. All those were remedies for us growing up as children, and like for a sweet tooth, you didn't always have candy. They give you a piece of sugar cane, like my people are from Georgia. And every Christmas back in the day, they would send us up a big thing of oranges or tangerines and pecans and sugar cane. And that was our treat for us, that the kids, we already hyper, but we running around there sucking on real live sugar cane. You know what I'm saying? And that sugar cane back in the day is different from the sugar cane now because the soil was different. Back in that day, they didn't have all these high price stuff in bags and jugs and 25 pound bags and stuff. If you wanted manure, you knew somebody with a horse farm, you had a truck, you got it for free. People had chickens, same thing. You barter. You didn't always have to, cash did not always have to cross hands. Like my
Right.
grandmother, she was a heck of a seamstress. She taught me how to crochet, taught me how to use those old fashioned singers with the foot pedal, and you had to spin the wheel to get it started. We made patterns from brown paper bags or butcher paper. We did everything from scratch. And same way with cooking. When you needed something to cook with, you didn't always jump in the car, run to the supermarket and get stuff off the shelves. You learn how to put stuff together yourself and use it from there. We didn't have a pressure canner, but my grandmother knew how to hot water pressure can because she used to make jars of peaches with a couple of cloves in it. Sometimes she might even throw a little brandy in there, to marinate them peaches on the best peaches. You
Oh yeah.
had homemade apple butter and applesauce. And we had the old fashioned ice maker machines where you had to put rock salt in them. And you ended up with an arm like Popeye because you had to keep cranking and cranking and cranking, and then you pass it off to somebody else. Yep. And we made homemade butter. We had a churn where you had to sit there and hit, and then made our own buttermilk and stuff. Everything that I grew up on was truly organic. We didn't get sick that often. When you got sick, and I guarantee you didn't stay sick more than a day or two. You weren't gonna stay home all week from school. You we gonna get you together, get you out of here. It's just like being kids playing outside. Just be in the house before the street lights come on. We didn't have Nintendo and all them other games and stuff. We had fun. And when you woke up in the morning, you did your chores, you ate, and then you got put out. The adults didn't even want you in the house. You had to go. You had to have a friend, a neighbor. You had to find somewhere to go. You didn't sit around the house all day. And they say you ain't got the kids ain't gonna sit up under these old folks trying to, listen to what they talking about and carrying on and drinking moonshine. They didn't want us to see all that, even though we know what was going on. Back then when we was growing up, kids should be seen and not heard.
Yep.
So when grown-ups in the room, you better disappear. Don't wait for them to tell you, because they might throw a shoe at you or anything. The old folks didn't play back in the day. And another thing, how times have changed is that when our people got old, we didn't put them in nursing homes.
Yeah.
My grandmother had two rooms built on the back of the house so that if we had elderly relatives, they would stay there and she would nurse them until they died. My grandmother was the youngest of, I think, 10, and my grandfather was the youngest out of 14 kids or something like that. So back then they didn't have big families, they had huge families because they worked, in the fields. Like my grandfather couldn't read or write, but he was a heck of a painter with his hands, and he also was a porter at one time on the trains down south. But they came up here for a better life. Plus, it was dangerous. They were hanging black men left and right back in those days, so they had to get out from down south. So
Yeah.
a lot of these young people just don't understand what us older ones have gone through, um, life lessons and also history
Yeah.
about it. I hear a lot of people about how they parents was educated and how they went to school and they went to college and they got their degrees. Well, I didn't have all of that. Even my mom told me she hated picking cotton, and you hear the stories, but I learned as I got older, and she always said, if you want to be wise, surround yourself with wise people,
Yep.
you know. And so I would sit and I would ask questions. Um, for a long time as a child, my voice was not heard. And then when I finally got to an age and stage where I could ask questions without feeling like I was going to be punished for it, I wouldn't shut up. I talk loud. I have a big voice because I was around a lot of older ones that were hard of hearing. You had to talk loud in order for them to hear you. Every now and then, my granddaughter had to say, Graham, inside voice. I'm sorry. And then working at the hospital didn't help it any because I had patients who was hard of hearing. So it's just that way. And I had to develop a sense of humor because I put it like this, we never went without eating. And as some kids say, we didn't know we were poor
Mm-hmm.
because we had everything. I had a roof over my head and a bed to sleep in, and I never went hungry. And I
That's
always had the freedom to go and do wherever I wanted to go and whatever I wanted to do. And I would hang in the back alley behind the house, and it had ditches that grew pussy willows and irises. And as a child, I was the first granddaughter and the first yeah, my cousin Earl was the first grandson, and I was the first granddaughter. So it's a gap between me and my next cousin. So I was pretty much a loner. So I used to hang in the garden with grandma, and I used to eat everything. I would taste it, even though it wasn't a vegetable. I ate a purple iris. Do you know purple irises taste like purple Kool-Aid?
really.
Yeah, yeah. And I used to eat flowers. That's how I found out what flowers was edible. My grandmother had roses, and you have roses and rose hip. Um, Cosmos. She had was it marigolds, and my grandmother had just as many flowers because she knew about bees and pollination, which I did not know about. I learned about that later because I actually stepped on a bee once as a kid that was in a clover in the lawn. But I learned more about pollination and bees just from observation and did not know that this is how nature worked. I didn't read upon it. I didn't go to the library at the time. We didn't have the internet. You know, a lot of stuff was either told to you or through observation, and they didn't teach that in the school. So I would see pretty flowers in the neighbors' yards, and I would ask them, what is that? And when they found out I was interested in nature and growing and about food, they started telling me their secrets.
Mm,
And then I cataloged them up here. I wish I'd have wrote some of them down in a book,
yeah.
but so far I still have all my faculties, so I can relate some of them to my granddaughter and my great granddaughter, and whoever else who wants to listen. Like I walk through my yard and I have nasturtiums, and I would reach down and pick a flower and eat it, and people would look at me like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Yeah, they're edible." And I would pick a flower and hand it to them or tell them to pick a flower, and they were like, "Okay," and they say it had a hot, spicy, or peppery taste. And I say, and the leaves are edible too. And a lot of what they call caterers will um, take the flowers and the leaves and sugarcoat them, and put them decorations on cakes, wedding cakes, birthday cakes, or whatever kind of cakes. Or they
Yeah.
would take the flowers and stuff and they would put them in salads.
Mm,
So and you will see marigolds mixed in salads too. So I have a beautiful 4 season yard when it comes to flowers. I have the ground cover that comes up, and then I have like my hyacinths and tulips that pop up, and then I have a early spring, early summer, fall, and just before the winter hits, I have the last of the flowers or greenery. So I constantly have something blooming. My echinacea is taking over. I really got to divide that, and the whole echinacea plant in itself has all kind of medicinal properties to it. You can make teas, you can make tinctures out of them, and it's not just the flowers; it's the stems, the leaves, and the root. You can consume the whole plant.
wow.
I leave it up for the winter because the finches like to eat off of the seeds on them, so that's a source of food for them. So certain plants will stay around. I won't harvest until late spring because I know I have lavender out there, and I have friends who are herbalists, and they come and they cut the lavender back and they will use it for tinctures. I know one young lady, Cam, she makes lavender ice cream. She makes it into sachets. You could use it in your bath water.
Yeah.
um, you could, if you notice for babies, they got a lot of stuff in lavender because it calms your nerves. It relaxes you. They make little satchels that they put inside pillowcases if you
Yeah.
have a hard time trying to go to sleep. And they have sprays now that you can spray in the room for lavender. They have the drops where you can put it into soap, or your hand soap in your bathroom. You can
Yeah.
take peppermint, you can take lavender, you can take a lot of the herbs and put it into your soaps, and every time you wash your hands, you'll smell them.
Yeah.
So I mean, and you could put those drops in. Actually, you could put it in a cotton ball and leave it in the room. It will deter certain pests. Also in your bath water, it helps soothe nerves if you have neuropathy. Sometimes that helps take the edge off of it, helps relax the body so your nerves can kind of calm down. I mean, we have a lot of natural herbs that people see every day and never know how valuable these herbs are as well as flowers.
Yeah, yeah. You are so right. A lot of flowers, like you were talking about the lavender, and I think
Hmm.
I've used lavender and the hibiscus, the Jamaican
Yeah.
hibiscus, and that with some
Yeah.
rose. Somebody, well, I used it, but somebody made like a little satchel, and they gave it to me.
Hmm.
Water. You talking about after a bath, your skin feeling so
Yeah.
smooth and it smells so good. I've never
Hmm.
tried that until then, but I definitely will be looking forward to doing that. I thought about that today before we got on live, putting it in your bath water
Okay.
and making your
Yeah.
skin feeling so good, and it helps
You
with
know, milk does the same thing.
yeah, and milk. Yeah,
Yeah.
they those
Um,
things in the store, milk body washes or bubble baths or soaps they call them. Some of them.
well, we used to use milk baths for the babies that have eczema. It'll help dry it up. It'll help stop the flakiness, and it helps cut down on itching. It was
Yes.
just certain properties in milk. Now, I don't know if the milk that we got out here now
No,
is the
no.
same as the milk back in the day.
I can tell you. I tell you,
Oh, like,
I was drinking it when I was younger, and I stopped because
uh-huh.
it tasted different. So I know it ain't the same from when y'all
Yeah,
had it.
yeah, yeah, and it messes with your stomach too. Before, I wasn't lactose intolerant before. I
Yeah.
could drink milk. I love milk. I actually love milk. I would, eat your cereal and then drink the milk after the cereal. I would just have a glass with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I would have warm milk at night if it helped me to go to sleep. I
Mhm.
love milk. This milk they got out here now, I don't even touch it. I might cook a little bit with it, like
Right.
when I'm doing my cornbread or something like, but to sit down and have an ice cold glass of milk, I don't do that anymore because it just it almost make you feel like you're lactose intolerant, but it's not even about that because it never did it before. And even though I know I'm older and some things changes for me, I have been fortunate, like peppers don't bother me, onions, garlic, none of that stuff bother me. But I've always eaten organic food. I never really ate a lot from the supermarkets. I love farmer markets, and I'll go east side, west side. Somebody got a farmer's market for the weekend. I'm rolling up in there, and I'm buying stuff in the bushels, and then I come home and break them down and do stuff. Like I just got a half a bushel of what is that? Garlic. I had some garlic, but I cooked it all up. I used it all up. But I want to make a tincture with garlic and honey, for the winter seasons, for impending colds and what have you. Like when my granddaughter was little, her mom used to send her over to my house. I tell her, don't send her over here sick because I don't know what it is about kids' germs. I can be standing next to an adult that got bubonic plague, won't get sick. Let a child come up in here,
Yeah,
I daggone near die. I was like, what y'all got jackhammer germs? They just work their way into my system.
it does.
I said, don't send her over here sick. But I work on her the whole weekend and I send her home back. Well, after I get through pumping her up with this, that, and the third and rubbing her down, she almost like new and ready to go back to school on Monday morning. And then I'm end up down for the rest of the week, sick with all her little nasty critters. I said, you know what? Kids ain't nothing but a walking petri dish. They just got
That's
and
it.
they got germs I ain't never heard of. You know what I'm saying? It's just like they just nasty. And you know how they all
Yeah.
up in here coughing their hand and they want to pat you or hit you. Oh, Jesus, please get your I t-
Uh,
I tell you, little crumb snatchers, get away from me with y'all's germs.
that's they
Oh, yeah.
they system is so strong. They have all those germs that's really not good for us that we can't take it because our body's not
Of
as
course.
their
Let me
system.
tell you, all you have is one kid to get sick, and everybody in the house is sick, or everybody in the daycare is sick, or
Yeah,
everybody in that classroom is sick. It is something about them little critters with them germs that come up in there, and all they got to do is sneeze. Kids just not learn to sneeze like this. Kids didn't sneeze like that before. They just, you know,
Yeah.
you know, wipe their face, and then they want to get up and kiss you. You know what I'm
uh,
saying? And just like, oh my God.
yeah.
So, like it tickles me because I think of my new great grandbaby. When I hold her and kiss her, she's at that stage where everything goes to the mouth.
Yeah.
And like if I have her up near my face, she wanna, yeah, it's so cute. But I have her on my I said, quit sucking on my clothes. She just testing everything. And she
Yeah.
likes texture.
That's how they
Sh-
explore it.
Yeah, rugs, blankets, anything. If she can get a hold of it, she's rubbing it, she's patting it. And I was like, this one here, her mom showed me a little summer hat she got, and she looked at me and smiled. She's like, "Yeah, Graham, she gonna be in the garden with you. I already know. We got a little sun hat, and I'm already looking for a little bucket with the little kitty tools in it
Yeah.
and a little pair of gloves because I told her she gonna be sitting in the stroller watching Nana out there planting stuff." And as stuff starts to mature, like the little small cherry tomatoes, I'm gonna make sure it's not too small that it get caught in the throat. If I had to bite it piece, and I'm, I've already snuck a few things. She's already done tasted cheesecake, oatmeal, ice cream,
Uh,
banana.
I-
She'll be 6 months old next week, so we
oh,
already testing the water.
6 months.
And every time I get a plate and I'm eating, and she, how they do, like,
Mm-hmm. You have to watch.
like, you gonna give me? Yeah. Oh, she grabs. Oh, she canceled my doctor's appointment. I had her in my lap and I was eating breakfast, and instead of her reaching for the eggs or the bacon, she reaches and she hits the three on the phone and cancels my doctor appointment. I couldn't get I couldn't get mad. I just had to put her down out the way, and I had to call them back. I said, please, I've been waiting on this doctor's appointment for a long time. But she's gonna be in the garden with me as well. She's gonna be, and I'm gonna show her how to plant stuff. And as I do stuff, I'm gonna explain her to it. Every year as she gets older, I'm gonna tell her, like when mommy and daddy's cutting the vegetables and stuff, you can start your own little personal worm bin or compost pile, you
Yes.
know, put it in the bucket or either save it for Nana, and Nana can bring it back to her garden if mom and dad don't want to do it. I want to teach her how to recycle cardboard, newspaper, all the stuff that instead of sending it to the recycle center, recycle it yourself.
Yes.
It all going to break down. Plastic is about the only thing that's not going to break down. It will, but not right away. So
Right.
things that you could throw into your compost heap or start your own super water, super juice. I can show her how to put a bucket outside, and we have one that has a lid, and we can put the stuff in there, like your banana peels and stuff that you eat during the course of the day, apple cores or pears or whatever. Don't throw it in the trash. We're going to put it in this bucket. I want to show her at an early age that she can be self sufficient, and then show her how to put seeds in a cup. I got a gazillion what they call a red solo cups over here, and show her how to make their own soil. I keep peat moss and perlite and what have you here, and you make up your own pot and soil and what have you. I'm going to show her how to do it the least expensive way that you don't have to always run to the store and try to buy busted bags or the latest stuff. Once in a while we might grab a bag of black cow or mushroom compost and
Everyone.
mix it in there together. Yeah, just as a little extra shot in the arm. But I'm going to show her how to do it the right way. Like right now in my garden, I got chives that's taking over. And I don't have the garlic chives. I have the ones that get the blossom pink heads. And they draw bees into the yard, but the chives is taking up valuable real estate. So I want to dig them up and put them around the garden
Right.
to
That.
still help with pollination, but also help deter other insects and stuff. And then what I did this summer, as my marigolds was drying, I just plucked them off the plant and just sprinkled them in the yard because a lot of them will reseed themselves and come back. That's
I,
free marigolds, you know.
that was
So I was taking seeds and I was going to every little plot I had, and I was just sprinkling marigold seeds all over them. So some of them will come back if the critters don't eat them. Hopefully, I get this grant. If I get this grant, I ain't kidding. It's gonna be a serious fence be put up around my garden so that I can enjoy the fruits of my labor. Oh,
you can
y'all. Oh, y'all
wait.
just don't know, huh? Really? Yeah, yeah. For Department of Agriculture, I'm gonna be blowing y'all phone up till y'all tell me something. Y'all started it, I'm gonna finish it.
Oh, let me ask you, with the teas that y'all made, did y'all use cheesecloths or did y'all just throw the herbs in the water and just boil them and let them steep? How did y'all do those?
uh, we had cloth, but it wasn't cheesecloth. It was like a old undershirt that Granny done ripped up in the rag. She washed it first. You know,
Okay.
back in that day, you had those good heavy cotton, shirts and stuff. So you didn't have to worry about any of the teeth getting out floating in it. And she would take it and some string that you got from the butcher, that you wrap up stuff with. And she would just have the string long enough so it almost looks like a tea bag sitting in the pot and let it steep. Sometimes she let it sit overnight, or sometimes she boil it, according on what the occasion is. If somebody's sick, or she just wants to, drink it so that you can build your immune system up before the winter. Like I said, we very seldom got sick as children, and I guarantee you, you didn't want to sneeze. You would walk around, you'd be like, you'd be trying to muffle it. You don't want them to hear you cough or sneeze. Because if they wasn't sticking something down your throat, they wanted to stick something up your butt. They wanted to check your temperature. They wanted to do something. And you'd be like, I ain't sick. I ain't sick. Them old folks didn't play. They know that if you got sick, if they didn't take care of you, they know everybody in the house was going to get sick.
Right. Right.
Mm. And so they couldn't afford to have granddaddy get sick because he was the breadwinner.
Right.
And other members in the house, worked at the hospitals too. So they couldn't go to work if they were sick. I mean,
Right.
back in the day, they truly didn't want you to come to work sick. You come to work sick, they send you home.
Not none. You got to be
Oh
dead.
no. Oh no, they want you in
Dead.
that half dead. They don't care. I got sick on the job once. I was so sick I couldn't even hold my head up. They took me down to the ED in a wheelchair. They took one look at me and said, "Oh, we just waiting on a room." That was the only way I got out of that. Do you know I got points for that?
Oh Lord.
Because I couldn't fulfill my schedule, the shift.
And
I
they
got points for going in the hospital, and I was in there for like 3 4 days, and they gave me points because I couldn't fulfill my shift. I was like, "Look, I'm gonna fight this,"
that's
So yeah,
and that's how we
yeah. So I had a shot. What did I have? I had the little bottles shots of turmeric,
mhm,
ginger, immunity boost, vitamin C. They in the ice box. They lined up. I just went and bought a whole case of them. I went to Aldi's and bought a case, and I had a shot before I left out the house today to go with my granddaughter and the baby. So she's very health conscious because she's breastfeeding, and she
yeah.
had me cracking up. She said she ate some plant based food and salad, and the baby did a serious blowout. Cause that plant based kind of it
It does.
ran through her, then it ran through the baby.
It
I was
does.
upstairs, I heard it go, oh, I went running downstairs. I thought something happened. She said, no, Graham, she said the baby had a serious blowout. And I bought her a brand new onesie that said, you think I'm cute, you ought to see my great grandmother. And she said, she ruined that onesie. I said, that's why I bought her two. She got another one upstairs.
But kids, how stuff's supposed to work. When you could tell when the food that you're eating is doing its job, that's how it's supposed to work. But
Yeah,
now that
yeah,
you eat it, it takes days and days before you have a
yeah,
bowel. And even sometimes, if you have a bowel movement that day, you might not see the food that you ate today. That might be food
yeah,
that you ate
yeah.
a couple days ago, and that's
Well,
considered a health problem.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And the killer part about it, you know, when you ate the wrong stuff, when you go to the restroom and you can't stand to be in there yourself, you be like, "What the heck did I eat?" It's like, did I blow my brains out or what? Like, what the heck? So you know that what you eating during the course of the day just wasn't meant to be consumed by humans. I mean, it's just like beef. Beef will sit in your bottom of your stomach for a day or two before it totally digests. You know, I don't care if it's lean, so lean, it's leaning. You know, it doesn't make a difference. Beef will sit in the bottom of your stomach for at least 2 or 3 days before it finally passes through. So that's why I try to eat as many leafy green vegetables. Like earlier today, I was showing G Hud that I had made a smoothie, and I had um, protein, banana, no, peanut butter protein, leafy green scoop of protein. I had bananas. I had honey crisp apples. I had pineapple
Mm,
and a few other things in there. And that smoothie was the bomb. And I don't feel bloated, but I feel full, you know. So I know that once I lay down, I won't have heartburn, I won't have indigestion, you know, I won't have all them other problems that goes with all this processed food that
yeah.
our body tries to assimilate and can't. And then, you know, they talking about I got a headache. Like some people said they drank some wine and they had a hangover, a headache the next day, and they didn't drink that much. It's the nitrates that they put in there. You
Mm,
got to read them labels on the stuff that you eat and drink. They tell you take the time to read the labels. I tell you, if you don't read it now, it's gonna make you read it later to figure out what was in there that made you feel the way you did. So you could have saved yourself some time and some money and some energy if you'd have read the label beforehand.
definitely.
Anytime you get a list of stuff that you can't pronounce or it's adding stage one, stage two, stage three of what? Leave that alone. Leave it on the shelf. And when you come back, if it's still sitting on the shelf, that means it have been sitting in you the same way. People don't understand that, you know, and they wonder why they constipated because you backed up with all the stuff that's not natural. It's all processed. Now you got to figure out how to break this stuff down to get it out of your system.
Yep.
So now you're taking all natural stuff, hoping it'll work the old stuff out your system.
Taking natural stuff to get rid of unnatural stuff.
Exactly. Which you
Oh,
shouldn't have been eating in the first place. That's why they keep, you know, telling us quit eating all this processed food. Quit
yeah.
eating all these fast foods. You know, every time I eat fast food and I don't eat it that often, I might get nauseated or it just doesn't sit well, you know, because I don't normally eat it, consume it, and therefore I didn't have to worry about it working its way out of my system.
I've heard
But
this.
yeah,
When I eat
I'm
fast,
sorry.
when I eat fast food, it does the same thing to me too. I try not to get it. I try not to get it because it gives you that heaviness when you eat it.
Yeah, yeah. And if I normally eat fast food, it's normally a salad. I love the salads. I'll eat the salads, you know, and I've been known to go home and rinse them that lettuce off again too, because they were having so much problems for a while with lettuce, what's that, listeria and a
Yeah.
few other veggies and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's the last thing I need or want in my body. That's like having a diff. You know what the diff is? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
I don't want the
Uh-uh.
diff.
Definitely don't.
Yeah, but not only sassafras, it was a few other herbs. Sassafras, basil, um mm, my grandmother used to grow this one plant, I can't think of the name of it, but the leaves she put on there that if you had any sore spots, tag, I can't think of it. If you had a bruise or whatever, she would rub it on the bruise and it drew the soreness out of it, and in a couple of days it was cleared up. I
Huh.
and I can't right, not
What?
off the top of my head. I can't think of it.
It wasn't mullein.
Mm-mm. Wasn't mullein. I would have remembered mullein
Trying to think.
because I always equated mullein with lamb's ear, something soft.
Yeah, lamb's ear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
I.
think that's what it was.
Yeah,
Lamb's ear.
I
Yeah.
think
It has oils in it.
on a video that we watched on one of my lives where she had them uh rub their feet if they had fluid. Well, we call it
Yeah.
gout. You rub
Yeah.
it to bring out all of the fluid out of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the same way with my grandmother used to make my granddad put his feet in lukewarm water and she would add vinegar, salt, and a half a lemon. And that drew all the soreness and it helped dry up his calluses and corns and stuff. And just let his feet sit and soak because he was a painter. So he's climbing up and down ladders all day or standing on ladders all day. And she would do that. And every now and then she put some rubbing alcohol in there too. And he had the softest feet you ever wanted to see on a man. You know, most men got
Yeah,
ashy, cruddy toenails that could cut up your sheets. Yeah,
yeah.
granddad didn't have that kind of feet.
Mm,
His feet was they called soft and supple.
uh, To elevate artistry,
Mhm.
you was asking is kale good or no? I've heard, and from me, uh, they say sometimes you can substitute kale is healthier than uh what is that, mustards? It's,
Okay. Well, I've mixed them all in my. I've mixed kale with cabbage. I have mixed kale with collards, mustards, turnips. Yeah,
yeah,
it's still a leafy green vegetable, and it's high in vitamin K. I think vitamin C as well. So
mm,
that's why they push it as far as the health food folks. The
yeah,
ones that normally like to work out, and they like to make their own smoothies and what have you. Kale just kind of shot through the roof once people realized just the nutritional value of
right,
kale. But see, as African Americans or Black folks or whatever you want to label yourself as, we already knew the value of greens.
yeah,
Greens was in your diet at least once or twice out the week. The majority of them used them on Sunday when they made the sweet potatoes and greens and whatever. And then the different kinds of meats changed because I know when we was coming up, it was always salt pork. And then when they started saying how salt pork was messing with people's high blood pressure, then they went to ham hocks. Then they went to smoked ham hocks. Then they went to smoked turkey. Then they went to turkey wings. So the meat changed, and I found out a lot of men quit eating pork.
yeah,
So once they stopped eating pork, they started using ham. I mean, not ham, but what was it? The turkey, the
mm,
smoked turkey, turkey wings, turkey tails, all that stuff. So as each generation came to be, the diets got tweaked, so to speak. You know, certain religions became a little more prominent in the news than others,
yeah,
and that's when a lot of the men's diets changed, and also the ones that went to jail. They were taught certain things, and they started stepping away from pork. So in some cases, the diet started to change. So
yeah,
then women started changing the way that they cook. Now, I'm an organized preparer. I'm not cooking anything unless I know I have everything I need before I start to finish. I'm not going to start cooking something, get halfway through and say, oh, shoot, I don't have so and so and so. I need to run to the store. But at
right.
that time, no, you could call your neighbor or knock on your neighbor's door and ask for it, back in the day, where you would say, you got a half a cup of sugar, or can I get, some milk or something to finish this recipe? You can't do that now.
Knock on somebody's door.
I would,
Pew pew.
oh. No, no. My girlfriend up the street, I used to go to her house all the time. She passed away last year. I can't even go up the street no more. So uh, I would do it sometimes just so that I would fix something and take it up to her. She was sickly and she passed away. And I was like, I miss her. And I was like, that was my time to get out the house and share something good with her. But I don't care if it's seasonings. I don't care if it's garlic powder or onion salt or whatever. If I don't have it, I'm not gonna cook it because it's not gonna turn out the way I want. But then I said one day, and I was like, why am I tripping like this? I was like, I need a bell pepper. Go downstairs to the side door. You got a bell pepper plant growing right there. Pluck a pepper off of that.
That's it.
Oh man, I'm making spaghetti. I need that bell pepper. And I was like, dang, man, I don't have enough tomato sauce. Go over to the garden, get you a couple of tomatoes and dice them suckers up and throw it in there. You even got a jalapeno over there if you want to give it a little kick, or chili or whatever. And I was like, why am I was like, girl, slow down, you tripping.
Got
And I
right in your
right
garden.
now, yeah, yeah, right now I got lemon balm that's taking over. They fighting the strawberry patch and the lemon balm is fighting for property rights in the backyard. They done took over. I didn't keep up with that lemon balm. That bad boy started dropping seeds. Now my big lot is 2 doors over from my house. I got lemon balm popping up over there, and I know I didn't plant none over there. I forgot that I should have left it in a pot. I took it out of a pot and put it in the ground in a raised bed in the corner. It then choked out just about everything else that was in that bed. It then took over. Now the seeds and dropped in the strawberry patch. And between the strawberries is winning though. They pretty thick. So the lemon balm had to go somewhere else. It's floating all over the neighborhood. So I got neighbors who gonna be complaining in a minute about what is this? But when you rub up against it, you can smell the lemon in it,
Mm,
the
yeah.
oils and stuff in it.
I,
So every time somebody come by the house to visit, I was like, "You make tea?" And they was like, "Yeah." And I take it right down there. I don't give them a piece. I snatch up the whole plant roots and all here. Take this home. Put it in the pot. Don't put it in the ground. Whatever you do. I'm trying to get rid of this bad boy.
oh,
But I have other herbs like what is that? Italian, oregano,
yeah.
and see my lemon balm. I got peppermint, and I
Yeah.
have spearmint,
Hmm.
and I have the mint that you can make mojitos with. Yeah, and yeah, they have a special mint that's used for mojitos, and I found that out when I went to Puerto Rico, and I came back home and I found that mint, and it's growing in the yard, and I have made mojitos from the leaves off that mint. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah, yeah. And did you know that the oils from a lot of these mints are good for your skin?
yeah.
A lot of these oils and lotions that we buy, a lot of women do not know how to test. If you put a dab of a lotion or a salve on your skin and it doesn't melt, don't use it. Don't buy it. Don't take it. Because that means your skin is not compatible with it and it won't absorb it. It'll just sit there. You'll be sitting there rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, trying to rub it into your skin. But all you're doing is clogging your pores.
Mm.
So if you have an oil that sits there, if you have any kind of lotion or salve of any kind, if you put it on your skin and it doesn't start to melt with your own body temperature, your skin can still be dry.
I didn't know
People
that.
think yeah, they think that they're supposed to more. I'm also a licensed cosmetologist and instructor. I do facials, eyebrows, haircuts, whole 9 yards. Hair coloring, you name it, I can claim it. I'm like Lead Farmer. I done did a little bit of this, that, and the third. Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, just like If somebody is knocked out, you don't throw cold water on them. A lot of the pictures show how you throw cold water, it shocks them. They got a heart condition, you just put that person in cardiac arrest.
I
It's
seen
just like somebody walking up to you and going, boo.
what
Right.
is
If you
it?
snap ammonia and putting it up under your nose, that's a sensory thing.
Mhm.
Water, splash, you don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like people, well, if they slap you, they're trying to slap you back into consciousness. Water thrown on somebody throws them into shock. I don't care what condition they're in. Even if someone's fighting and you throw water on, what's the first thing they do?
Yep. Gas. Yep.
Don't do that.
Then you got a bigger
Yeah.
problem. Follow the water and choke it and get in your lungs. Now you got pneumonia.
Yeah. Yeah. You learn little tidbits on and off as you get older. Sometimes, you say, that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. You know,
Uh-oh. Was
like
it?
like when people choking, they tell you to raise your arms up in the air.
Mhm.
That's not guaranteed it's going down.
Right.
You know. So yeah. And it's like, hold your arms up. I was like, for what? Is this stick up? What is if it's stuck, it's stuck. Holding your arms up ain't gonna make it go
Some
down.
force to get it to go upward.
Exactly. You lean over, hit yourself, get that air, work it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like when a kid is choking. When you raise his arms, all you're doing is bouncing him up and down. You're not taking care of the issue. When you're hitting him on the back, you're busting a bubble or air or whatever. You're getting them to take a breath. Okay, putting your arms in the air, not gonna get it. So just a little FYI for y'all.
Right. Little room. It ain't enough room to make you go up or
Yeah,
down.
yeah, 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 yeah. Fill your lungs with air.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah, but yeah, I have all kinds of herbs that are flourishing in the yard. Like I said, I have a lot of flowers that I like to eat. And did you know you could eat hostas? And I have about 9 or 10 different varieties of hostas. And the most tenderest is when they first started sticking out of the ground. They almost look like asparagus.
Okay.
That's when they're the most tender. Um, and when I say tenderest, not even a word. When they were the most tender, when they first sticking out the yard, they said that as humans we can consume them. And I tell people in a heartbeat, if you see berries in the park and nobody's eating those berries, you better not eat them either. If the birds don't eat them, if the squirrels don't eat them, if the deer don't eat them, you better not eat it. It's either poisonous or it's just nasty, but beyond. That plant has its own protection in
Ooh,
regards to it. If you see a bush that's full of berries and nobody's touching it, neither should you.
right.
Just like they say, poison ivy, leaves of three, let them be. Same principle. They not going near, you don't go near. You know,
Leave
just
them.
little tidbits.
Leave
Yeah,
them. So I hope y'all listening. Miss Shirley give y'all a bunch of herbs in addition to not just herbs but flowers as well for y'all
yeah.
to grow and put in your garden and use it medicinally and just eat it. Sometimes just eat it.
And crab apple. Yeah, and like I've learned over the years that most of your fruit trees, you can eat the leaves off of those. Put them in teas, and make teas out of your peach leaves. Tastes just like peach tea.
Hmm.
I mean, your pear, some of your apple varieties, not all, but some, they have a good taste to them that you could saturate them and let them sit. Just like you make sun tea, you just put them
Yep.
in the water, you know, and let them sit. Throw you some ice on there if you want to. You can get you some raw honey if you want it sweeter,
Mm-hmm.
and enjoy.
Let me ask you, Miss Shirley,
Mhm.
did y'all make cough syrup? What did y'all use ingredients to make cough syrup? If you remember.
Um, yeah, we made cough syrup. I'm trying to think of. Ah, mm, it's not menthol. Oh man, I had it on the tip of my tongue until you asked me. I have to come back to that.
Get
That's
back to
one thing about getting older. Yeah, yeah. I have what they call selective amnesia. Sometimes I can remember stuff. Sometimes I'll be like, what was I saying?
let's come
But
back
it,
to
it was a cough syrup,
mm-hmm.
and I
When-
can't think of it. Oh, I know one ingredient was molasses,
okay.
and it was it was something like camp. It's like camphor. It was camphor. Camphor raw. It was unadulterated camphor, molasses, and I think she might have put in some mint in it to kill the taste because it was pretty strong, but you had to kind of dilute it. It was thick in the jar, but she would put it in some water and stir it up, some warm water, so it could, that molasses is thick, so it could dissolve with the camphor. And when you put, when you drank it slow, it coated your throat. It take that rawness out, that raspiness, and
Mm-hmm.
it would sit into your chest and it would break up all that cold and congestion. And it didn't stop the cough. It just minimized it. So once that cold started breaking up, you could spit it up and cough it out. Or they would add a dose of castor oil behind it to help once it break up, you just work it totally out of your system. You
Mm-hmm.
crap for days, but honestly, no, when you got through,
Yep. The
your
ele-
system was clean as a whistle.
rock hairs. I don't. She say they. She all she remembered the little bottle that had some rocks in it. She said, "Son,
Mm,
um," and Brooke said, "Yeah, all we took was castor oil for everything."
yeah,
That's
no, we had castor oil, 3 6s, Father John. Ooh, that stuff was so thick and nasty. Oh my God, I don't know. Cod liver oil, castor oil. Oh my goodness, all of that stuff was just
turpentine
nasty for no reason.
stuff too.
Nasty for no reason, but it did the job though. It was organic. It didn't gripe your stomach. It didn't upset your stomach. Once you heard that first bubble, that was a wrap. After that, you're going to go until your stomach is totally cleaned out. Whatever in your system from head to toe, it's going to be cleaned out. And they used to put, what did she used to put? Oh, wow. For eardrops. I'm trying to think, what was it? Was it cod liver? No, it wasn't cod liver oil. Oh man, it was a tincture that my grandmother would make to put in your ear for earaches. Back in the day, you didn't hear about kids having all those earaches. You didn't hear about kids having to have tubes put in their ear for drainage from earaches. A lot of stuff that we hear about now, you didn't hear back in the day. It's very few people you knew that was allergic to peanuts, that
Yeah,
was allergic to shellfish, uh allergic to pretty much anything. Very seldom you heard about anybody who had allergies. Um, Mostly everything was up to date. Lactose intolerance. You didn't hear about all that stuff until maybe about mm, I was like late 80s, early 90s. Then you started hearing people having problems with ulcers. They was drinking milk all the time because they was stressed out and all this other stuff. You didn't hear about all that stuff back in the day.
no,
And back then they didn't do all that bang bang shoot 'em up. They fought. They used their fists. They did it manly wise. Knock you out, keep it moving. That was it. So yeah, times have changed so much, and I sit back and I shake my head at some of the stuff that y'all go through now, and some of the stuff we breeze through. We had the good music, we had the clothes. Oh man, we could style and profile. Oh my God. Mm-mm.
oh,
You
yeah,
went to parties, you had evening gowns, you was made up from head to toe. You was just maxed out. Now all you see is tennis shoes, flip flops, t-shirts, paying $400-500 or a couple $1,000 for a pair of tennis shoes. That's not dress up.
mm,
That's playing house. That ain't even no,
and
no.
boys wearing the pants that's too little, and not only that they hanging off their butt, they it's below their butt now. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And if you notice, they wearing two pairs of drawers now. They got one that sits up high, then another one below it, like as if it's double decker. Really? What is that proving? Now, see, the difference between that and men, if a woman had her boobs pushed up all the way up to her chin, she's being a whore.
mm,
Okay. All right. Because she's showing too much cleavage. But I can look at his butt all day trying to run down the street like this here because he's trying to hold up his pants, his gun, and his drugs, trying to go down the street. Really? Oh, see, and I don't get it. I don't understand why they didn't get charged for indecent exposure for showing their underwear. A woman can't show her boobs, but this guy, unless it's in a strip club or something like that. But if a guy do it, it's the fashion. I don't. Mm-mm.
right. Tampa,
Yeah,
you think it was sweet oil that they put on the cotton for the
yeah,
for
yeah.
the
Yep. That's what it was. I couldn't think of a sweet oil. Yeah, excuse me, Mill.
Mhm.
Oh,
Creek, y'all is she is studying to be a herbalist. So you guys
oh, okay.
check her out. She's studying to, complete her herbalist program. So she knows
Okay.
a lot about the herbs. Look, Brooke said,
Yeah.
"Oh, we can't, Brooke. That might be you, but everybody else is gonna call her a fast girl."
Yeah. What my
Hey,
aunt used to call 'em, yeah, fast, yeah, hot tail. Oh, they had some names for them back in the day, but it
yeah,
was a profanity compared to what they call them now. You don't say hi to somebody, you the B word automatically. I'm just like, really? That's why you ain't got a woman. I'm saying to myself, I ain't saying that out loud, okay? With that attitude, you never will. But
yes,
yeah, it's a lot of people now out here. I'm seeing all these new clubs, um, garden clubs, seed swap clubs, neighborhood watch. Uh, they're booming. They're really booming. And I've heard stories in regards to people who are in HOA communities that if they can lighten up some of the rules in regards to possibly having gardens and chickens even,
yeah,
so we
because
going I'm waiting to hear more about that.
yeah, they're gonna have to lighten up because with the way things are going. I went to the store, grocery store today, and it's a lot of stuff that would normally be there in excess. It's not there. Shelves are empty, and they don't have
Yeah,
it back to go get
yeah,
it. And nothing is coming.
yeah.
Even like I went today for the past 2 weeks. I went to the store to try to get double A batteries. It's Family Dollar, Dollar General in my area, completely out of batteries. So
Hmm.
what are you gonna do if you go to the store and they don't have it and you need it?
Hmm. And that's why you see Sherry Black Tropical Homestead and Dale and a few other folks, showing you how to make sourdough breads, how to make 2 degree, 2 ingredients biscuits and stuff. They're showing you how to be self-sufficient. If you don't have a loaf of bread in your house, you got flour, you got water, keep a couple packets of yeast sitting around. You make
Yeah,
your own bread and
yeah,
it'll taste better. You want to add a little honey on top to sweeten it up, you can do so. They said you don't have to jump in your car every 5 minutes and run to the store for this, that, and the third. Everybody can't do that. Once, you know, everybody don't have transportation. Everybody don't have the app for Uber to bring it and drop it off. You know,
right.
so you gotta learn how to be self sufficient. You see people making their own tomato sauces, their own beef broth. They even taking the bones afterwards and drying them out, crush them up, making their own bone meal. I mean, like they said, your trash that you take out should be no bigger than those little plastic bags that you get from the supermarket. Everything else should be recyclable. Okay. I even recycle my bottled water. I'll make them water dispensers where
Yeah.
I will put them down next to my plant. When I put a plant in the ground, I put holes in it, the bottom, and I put it in there. So when I add my mulch on the top to keep the top layer dry, if I don't want direct water to my roots of my plants, I can fill up my little water jugs and it will slowly seep out. And people used to wonder, how is your plant so healthy and green over here? And I don't see any water hose. No, no. At that time, I didn't have my 55-gallon water jugs over there in kiddie pools and stuff, which caught all the rain last year to
Yeah.
help me water the stuff. And I was like, I was bringing it over from the drums over in this yard in watering cans, and I would fill up each one of those bottles during the course of the day. And as it went on, the plants slowly absorbed the water that came out of them, and they was just as healthy and fine. And I could add super juice to it, or I could add some type of soluble plant food to them, and my plants got fed and they was healthy and the leaves stayed dry. So I had less problems with pests and what they call it, backflash or wash when it rained and stuff that kept the leaves clean and what have you. So, and it kept the snails away and other creatures, because that plants was healthy. I very seldom had problems with the leaf, with leaf curl or rust or black spot. I started, what was I listening to? I think it was just, ah, no, wait a minute. Oh, it'll come to me. But anyway,
Oh,
when I learned about planting onions and garlic around my rose bushes so I didn't have to worry about black spot on them, it
yeah.
works.
And I
It
want to
works.
Brooke said about Amish, we could learn a lot from them.
Oh,
They
yeah.
got
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of old school things as far as
Yeah.
baking and farming, and it's a lot of things
Yeah.
that we can put in that community that we need to
Hmm.
incorporate in our gardening. Tampa says she'll be
Yes.
enrolling in botany as well. Okay, good luck to you.
Okay. All right.
Her become a better herbalist. Good luck to you.
Yeah. I dabbled a little bit in botany because I have a dining room full of house plants. I do a lot of dividing and propagating of house plants. That what helps me get through the winter in regards to gardening before I started hearing about you guys doing hydroponics and other stuff. So, excuse me. So that's what I'm working on now. Right now I just have two geraniums that I brought out the hallway that were super dry that I had over the summer, and they were hitting that sub cold weather in the hallway, but they was dry. So I brought them in and I gave them a good watering, and I'm trimming them back, and I got new blossoms all over these geraniums inside the house in January in Ohio. So yeah, and come spring, I'm going to repot them into bigger pots, or I just might pull them out, trim the roots, put some fresh soil in it, and hang them right back up where they was at this past summer. Yeah, so yeah, but I it's just something mm, peaceful about gardening, being in connection with the soil. When I work out my garden and come home and shower and sit down, I am so at ease. I'm relaxed. I sleep real good. I like walking barefooted. I do. And they said, walking barefooted, your feet is in connection with the soil and the magnetic waves that are in the soil
Yeah,
will also transcend through your body and just kind of take the edge off of everything.
it
And
does.
I believe that. And honest to goodness, it's never failed me that anytime I work out in my garden, it's just a beautiful day. I can sing in the garden. I can put my ear pods on, listen to music or to an audio book, or I can cry, get it off my chest. I can pray. I mean, it's so many things that you can do when you're in your garden.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Miss Urban say, "Why you looking so extra sexy, Miss Shirley?"
I felt special today. I was looking like a bum earlier when I was on G-Hud. I figured since I was a special guest, I throw out the soap and water, and this is a new hat, so I decided I'd test it out, see if y'all
Look,
like
as always, looking nice. Look, you.
it. I can't see that small print, so you have to tell me what it says when it flashes. Even with my glasses on, I can't see.
Temple says, "I follow a lot of Amish channels. They have a lot of information. Yes, a whole lot."
Yeah. I go to the Amish country every fall because here in Ohio they have the best orchards for apples, where you can get fresh apples of all different kinds, and the apple cider. You can have either hot or cold, and the caramel candy and all that other stuff. And I get a chance to talk to some of the farmers down there, and they tell me some of their methods and what they grow. And how they improve their soil. But if you notice, they have horses. So horse manure is a big thing in Amish country. And they don't waste it. Even on the road, sometimes you'll see a buggy go down and a horse drop some. I guarantee you, less than a half an hour after that, there's a wagon that's pulling up to that same dump site, and they picking up that horse manure and taking it, and they're putting it in their compost piles, and they have a pile that's in heat that's starting to break down. Then they have a second pile that's halfway done, and then that third pile is already done. And
Yeah,
then they keep adding it to the soil, and they make sure what their horses' diets are so that they are not dropping parasites into their dung and passing that parasite from animal to humans. I
right.
guarantee you, I've learned a lot from the Amish. I don't have the contact to the resources that they have, but they tell me all the time, if you need this, that, and the third, just come down here with a truck. We'll load it up for you. But I just don't have those kind of resources. But they have the best setup
Mhm.
in regards to how they grow stuff. And the women and those young girls, even from the age of 5, those kids is already cooking almost full meals together,
They do everything.
because we always go down there and have, we have lunch every time we go to what they call it, the Dutchman. And
Yeah,
we go down there and have food at the Dutchman restaurant. Man, oh man, you just almost eat yourself into a coma going down there eating, because they put the big trays of food on the table, and you just pass it from one until it's empty, and then they bring out another one. So yeah, you can learn a lot from the Amish, not only in gardening, but also living off grid. You know, they don't have a lot of them don't have electricity.
yep,
Maybe the Mennonites might have it, but the Mormons don't have it, and they'll show you how to make candles, uh, how to make lanterns, and the type of oils and stuff, where they get them from in order to put them in, how the ones that is smokeless. So you're not smoking up the whole house with the oils and stuff. They have a lot of good information. I never thought about it until just now when somebody mentioned it, but yeah, the Amish is they're they're awesome when it comes to survival. I mean, they've been doing it for centuries and they still doing it. They will survive where we can't or won't, because we feel, for the ones who aren't preppers, feel like, oh, I can get this from Auntie so and so, or oh, they're gonna have that. No, that should have been a wake up call when the pandemic hit, when you couldn't find a roll of toilet paper or a roll of paper towels anywhere, and you sitting at home look trying to figure out, you don't have any mullein growing next to you, so which you gonna wipe your behind with?
what
You
you
know
gonna
what I'm saying? So and not only that, since this snowstorm's been threatening everybody, people been wiping out shelves, of bread and milk and cereal and stuff,
Yep,
stockpiling. So in case, the storm hit and they can't get out, they can eat. They can feed their families, or even if you're single, to feed yourself. So they were stockpiling when the storm hit. I was going in the store looking for certain things, and them shelves was empty.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm glad I'm not totally out. I was just kind of, doing a little backup thing. But I was like, okay, so I know I just need to ration certain stuff. But as a single person, I could get those huge, you know, things of paper towels and toilet paper and last me a couple of months because it's just myself. But when it comes to food, you're gonna have to be able to do the same thing. If my electricity go out here in Ohio, I have coolers and I had put my coolers out on the porch and put my food in them coolers. Sometimes it freezes. Sometimes it's colder than the refrigerator. I can't even put my eggs in one of them. They be frozen. So, so here up north, when it gets cold, we've learned how to survive, whereas the warmer states are catching the blues because they're not used to it. The city doesn't have the facilities for the snow and ice and all. Yeah, see, we used to it. It's no big deal when wintertime hit, we'd be like, oh well, just pump up your vitamin D a couple of thousand more, milligrams and keep it moving. Whereas y'all be like, oh, I got to go out here and cover my trees, I got to cover my brassicas, I got to check on the chickens, make sure they water ain't frozen. I don't
Learn how to
I don't
cover
have them problem issues.
how to do that.
You cut out, I didn't hear you. Say that again.
How to cover up pipes and stuff because we don't.
Right, right. Worried about busted pipes. See, we cover our pipes here, so because we know when it come, and like in certain rooms, you don't shut the door totally. You leave the door propped so that there's some kind of warm air circulating, in that closet or under your sink. So we don't normally have problems worried about busted pipes here, unless they just out there hanging. But
Yeah.
you guys, y'all catch the blues. I'll be sitting back saying, "Ooh, Lord have mercy, I'm so glad I ain't there." They talking about, "Oh yeah, it's warm here." Not today.
Happen. Matter of fact, we freezing right now. We're about to get,
Yeah, yeah,
but it's supposed to get
yeah.
down low.
I've been watching. Who is that? David going out there with sheets and stuff. And I was watching. Who is that? Georgia Peachnut
Oh,
getting covered some stuff and wrapping up her stuff and checking on it and looking at what damage it is to the fruit trees and what have you, the citrus and yeah,
yeah, it's been
yeah. So
rough for us Southerners that ain't used to that up north weather. It's been
yeah.
rough.
Now, all right. Do y'all have furnaces for heat?
We just have we have central air and heat, and some people have chimneys and fireplaces. But other than that,
Okay.
no furnaces now. Some older houses may have furnaces,
Yeah.
but most places,
Okay.
if you don't have central air and heat, then some houses may have like those space heaters still.
Okay. Okay.
And that's about it. You better go to the store and get your electric.
Yeah. And see, we have heat like you have central air. You know. So because of the cold here, so don't let the furnace go out. My furnace went out, excuse me, while I was at my granddaughter's house and didn't know. And I walked in my kitchen and I was like, it was warmer outside. And my poor little house plants was like, I was like, oh, no. And I was looking for my cat and she was up under the covers. And I was like, oh, my poor baby, she was cold. Yeah, I had the landlord come over and there was a piece that was broke. And I had to have, there was no heat that night in the house, but I have a gas stove. So I turned the stove on, opened up the door, and then I took a couple of pots of water and put it on top of the stove. That way it would put moisture into the air and that was warm, warm air. And I had, I could wash dishes, wash up, cook, whatever. And the guy came the next day and took him less than 15 minutes, put the part in and get me up and running. So I was like, cool beans, but yeah. So I was just wondering about you guys in warmer climates. Did y'all even have a furnace?
No,
Because y'all normally don't have the same issues, you
right.
know.
They done away with most of that. Everybody is, like I said, central air and heat. Or if you have those old in the floor heaters, what we call heaters in the floor,
Okay. Yeah.
gas heaters and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not
Yeah. And my grandfather did.
Miss
Go
Shirley.
ahead.
You got any last words or anything that you want to share with us?
Um, for all you ones who are new to gardening, and even some of you ones that have been doing it for a while, don't be afraid to try something. You don't have to try everything. Try something new, something you haven't tried before, something that excites you, something that you would love to see if you could do it. Like this year, I'm hoping that I can get my Miwok kumquat not only just to bloom. It bloomed last year, but then it got cold. And even when I brought it in the basement, the blossoms fell off and I didn't get the fruit. So this year, I'm looking for two things. I'm looking for my dwarf Cavendish banana plant to give me a rack of bananas, and I'm looking for my Miwok kumquat to give me some kumquats. I'm excited about that. I really am. And I'm gonna try to put forth an effort. So don't be scared to try something. I'm gonna grow my regulars, I'm gonna grow what I eat, you know, like my tomatoes and peppers and
Yeah.
cucumbers and stuff like that. But every now and then, you don't have to dig a corner. If you got a 5-gallon bucket, drop it in there. Try something new, something that excites you, something that you heard in one of the chats that people passing seeds around and you might like want to try it, whether it's blue butterfly pea or whether it's a tigger melon or whether it's sorrel, some Jamaican sorrel, so you can try some teas or tinctures or whatever. Try something new, something exciting, so that way it keeps your love for gardening going. Don't get stagnant in gardening, because sometimes you be like, I grew this last year, so what?
Grow it
If
again.
you like it, grow it again. If not, try something new.
Yeah.
But don't make the whole garden that one particular item. Just, a corner, like I said, in a 5-gallon bucket. So that way you won't lose out on soils, resources and water. So just enjoy garden. Make garden fun. Don't make it a labor of love. Make it a labor of love. Like people say, they come by and they see me in the yard, they're like, ooh, I can't do that. I said, this is not a chore to me.
Yes.
I love to do this. When you love to do something, you put your whole heart and soul in it. It's just like watching G Quad. She loves to sew.
Oh,
She
yes.
puts her heart and gold in the sew. It's like watching Crafty Leo. She loves to cook. She be throwing down. You like to cook, by you. I seen you throwing down. You know what I'm saying? And you like to hit the farmers markets like I do. When
Sure.
it's something that you feel in your soul that's going to make you happy, you're going to do it and you're going to enjoy it. And when you get enthusiastic like that, you spread it to others. And sometimes you will excite somebody else because they see how excited you are about that. So you never know whether it's a friend, neighbor, coworker, student, teacher. You never know who you might incite to want to garden. So don't be afraid to let people know just how much gardening means to you, whether it's survival, a hobby, or just something you want to try to see if you're capable of doing it. Because any job that you try, you got to start from the bottom and work your way up because you
Yep.
don't know how it works. So once you get the hang of it, oh, it's on like Donkey Kong. Just go for it. So enjoy gardening. Don't make it a hateful labor. Make it a labor of love. It's just like when you cook. Have you ever cooked something and somebody say, when I cook this, it don't taste like this?
Hmm.
Because your heart wasn't in it. And when you cooked it, it was because you love to cook. So you added that love into your cooking. And it will never fail every time you make it
Yeah.
because you love to do it. So when you get your feelings in the garden, sometimes I listen to Broke, and Broke will have me dying laughing. He loves his fruit trees. Everybody know how much he loves his fruit trees.
Do he
You know what
love?
I'm saying? Oh my goodness. He put a whole new meaning to love and fruit trees. And we're looking forward to him making that food forest of fruit trees. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm saying we got a lot of a good or no, we have a lot of excellent examples in the garden community on how you can learn to love gardening. And that makes it so much easier for you to do, and it makes it so much more fun. You won't hate doing it. You know, like some kids said, I grew up, my grandmother used to garden. I hate gardening because she had me doing this and that. But now I'm doing it because I see the value behind it. And
Right.
now they have become to love gardening and really, been enthusiastic about it and really gotten deep into it. They start telling you about the analytics to it and all this, that, and the other. And I'm like, oh, okay, we went from 0 to 60,
Right.
in less than 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So I've been doing it all my life. So to me, it's just second nature. I can do it with my eyes closed. And
Mm,
I'm seeing more and more people are getting into it as well. And we're getting a lot of new people into our community. I mean, it keeps getting bigger and bigger each year. Are you coming to the Soil Family Expo?
yes, ma'am. I will be there with bells on.
I can't wait to see you. Can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see all the folks who didn't come last year to come this
Oh,
year. I know it's going to be a lot of crying, hugging, snorting, and snotting, and I'm looking forward to every last bit of it.
yes. Wait. I
So thank you so
think
much for having me as your special guest this evening. Even
thank
with all the technical
I'm
difficulties, I think it was worth it.
all this, I'm sitting here thinking all this editing I gotta go back and do, but it was well worth the information that you gave you. Thank
Well,
you.
I hope I helped somebody in regards to don't be afraid to grow herbs. Make
Yeah,
sure you put them in a container because herbs can be very invasive. They
yes,
get a hold of some good soil and they will run you out your own yard. So leave them in pots if you can and keep an eye, keep them trimmed, and that way you will always have them coming back for more. Okay?
yes.
That's all.
Give it up again for Miss Shirley for coming in and visiting us with Bayou Sugar, giving us all this great information. Again, thank you, Miss Shirley. I appreciate it. And y'all can catch Miss Shirley every Thursday on her channel. She goes live. And how many watch hours you need now?
I haven't checked, but last time I checked was like 46, maybe.
Let's get Miss Shirley up on her watch hours, y'all. So go over there and check her channel, Miss Shirley, the OG Gardener. And make sure you do. Y'all see her hand? Hit that like button and show her that you like just a little bit. Thank
Oh, thank you, Bayou. Thank you. Thank you, much. From Mama Shirley.
thank you.
Good night, all.
Good
Bye
night.
bye. Mhm.
Let's see. Thank y'all for coming in. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all with all my technical difficulties. I was supposed to, oh, I did start my live at 6. Everything started off good. And I don't know what's going on with this computer, but I'm a figure it out before I go to bed tonight and cut this video up and get it right for y'all can go back and watch, you know, watch it uniformly. But Miss Shirley, you have given us a whole lot of great information tonight. We really appreciate it. We have homework. Yes, I said homework. I'm giving y'all homework. We, notice I said we're going to have homework. So the first thing I'm going to say is for y'all need to get done if you haven't done so already. You need to get you some homemade apple cider vinegar, or it doesn't have to be apple cider, homemade vinegar. If you haven't made any, go over to Lead Farmer's page on YouTube. He has a playlist that shows you how to make homemade vinegar. Hey, Bougie Prepper, welcome in. I appreciate you. Go over and look at Lead Farmer's playlist on how to make apple cider vinegar. We're going to need that going forward, okay? You need to get it started so that it can marinate. So when we get ready to use it, we can use it. Go ahead and over there and make that. Okay, so for the next live, you're going to need some things, some supplies so that we can make this together. I'm going to invite anyone who wants to come up that has the ingredients so that we can make all of this together. With all of these herbs that we've talked about, um, we're gonna make some bags, whether it could be tea bags or you can have it for bags that you I forget the name of the bags that you can put in your pillowcases for like filling with potpourri or something like that to make it smell good, or you can use it to put it in your bath. I'll let that be your choice. But the herbs or flowers have to be from something that you've grown or organic, like from a farmer's market or something like that. Okay. So we're gonna make those are called tea bags or satchels. We're gonna make tea bags or satchels. Okay. So you decide what kind you want to make and for what purposes. For example, we talked about tonight that they use lavender to help you calm you before you go to sleep, right? So you see those lotions, lavender oils and stuff in the store. If you have lavender growing in your garden, go get the lavender and let's process it and make it on the live next week. Sounds like a good deal? So you got two things you got to do. Go ahead and make your apple cider vinegar, or either it could be pear vinegar, or it could be whatever flavor vinegar you want to do. I just need you to make some homemade vinegar, okay, and have it for future. But you need to make it this week, okay? Then decide if you want to make a satchel or some tea or like a little potpourri bag, okay? Once you decide which one you want to make, that will be based off of what you have already growing or what you can get from like a farmer's market or something organic. Okay. It has to be organic. Okay. And we're gonna make that together on live next Saturday. And my computer issues will be fixed by then. So y'all got that? Our hearts and minds are clear. Bougie says that's what I want to do, grow some lavender and make some stuff with it. So that's what I'm trying to encourage us to do. We have people in our community that we can purchase it from, and we want to also we want to make sure we do that. But also, you want to be prepared just in case you can't get to those people and be able to know how to do it yourself. So, Bougie, what we're doing, she said, repeat that for me. You need to make some vinegar, homemade vinegar. It could be apple cider vinegar or whatever vinegar you want to use. The steps on how to do it is on Lead Farmer 73 page. He has a playlist that shows you how to make apple cider vinegar. So go over there and do that. We're not going to use that next week, but you need to have that made this week so that it could be ready for when we get ready to use it. Okay, because that vinegar, the longer it sits, the better it is. Right? So that's one thing. The second thing is we're going to make on live next Saturday some satchels, potpourri bags, or tea. You decide which one that you want to do. It has to be organic herbs that you use for it. You can process it and have it ready to make on the live. And I'll drop the link so that we all can make it together. Or if you want to, if it doesn't take long to dehydrate it, we can dehydrate it on the live and then, to show everybody and then make the satchels or the potpourri bags or the tea. So just making the bags. We're not actually making having the stuff to eat it and drink it and use it right now. We're just making them. So we're going to do that. And also, since we're talking about medicinal stuff, let's make some cough syrup, you guys. I need you to get some organic honey. I know most of us in this community has Jake's honey. Get some organic honey. And if you got onions growing in your garden, or you've had some, or you processed some, get an onion. Okay. Bob, if you want to make, let me see. I have a jar in my refrigerator. If you're gonna make like a little small one of those little small ball jars, let's see if I can get it. Excuse me, y'all. Like I have this cough syrup that I made before it started getting cold, just to have. So for this, you would need like one medium sized onion. So get you a little one little medium sized onion, and we're gonna get some organic honey. Okay, make sure you have that for next week, and we're gonna make that. So we're gonna continue these series for the next forever how long, incorporating all of the information that we have learned and actually make some things so that we can have. We've talked about a lot of herbs. We've talked about poke root. We've talked about ginseng weed. We talked about mullein, double tansy, sweet flag, white mint, um, valerian root, mint, basil, thyme, rosemary, all of those. If you need to go back to my community tab, I've posted the chart with the medicinal herbs and their benefits on the community tab. So you can go back and look at that. So be prepared for next week so that we can take a little break from, I guess, the lecture and talking per se, and actually do some things to help reinforce what we've learned so far. So let's try and get that done, guys. And I'll check in with you guys a little later. I thank you guys for coming and joining me tonight, even especially the ones that started out from the start with me with my technical difficulties. I went live 3 times trying to get it right, but it happened and it was well worth it. So I appreciate all of you guys. I hope y'all have a good night and stay warm, stay safe, and I will see you guys in these YouTube streets. Have a good night. Peace.